Good evening, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Gonna See My Friends, the podcast where we talk about movies and mostly movies. We talk about music. We have some guests on from time to time, all sorts of fun stuff, and we're going to keep expanding our horizons as we keep motoring on here. My name is Toby Ballinger, and here with the man himself, Mr. Stegar himself, Stephen Garcia.
What's up, man? How you doing? Good morning.
Good
I'm
morning.
stoked.
I am stoked as well.
Yeah, I love doing this pod with you, man, and I love doing movies like this. Interesting movie, and
Yeah.
kind of took me by surprise, and we'll talk about that. So,
I hope it did.
yeah, definitely, dude.
Yeah. Well, it's spooky season, as we know, and we're in the middle of October. We're right in the heart of it. And last week we did The Howling. That was Steve's choice. I had seen parts of it. Again, thought maybe I hadn't seen it all the way through, but certainly had seen a lot of the scenes and was familiar with the tale. But this week was my choice, and this is one of my yearly watches. Every spooky season, every Halloween, we watch, my wife and I sit down to a nice evening of The Cabin in the Woods. Just obsessed with this movie. And Steve, you'd never seen this before, is that right?
Yes, first time viewing. It was. It surprised me. I mean, it really did, and it really. I think if you go into this movie like I did, where I only heard bits, the only thing I heard. This is what I'll tell you. The only thing I heard was that it was, and swear to God, this is what somebody told me. It was a Evil Dead ripoff.
Okay.
So immediately when I went into this, I thought, okay, it's going to be obviously about a cabin in the woods, but there's going to be some. Let's see, what is it like? I don't know what you describe it, like some witchcraft or whatever, some
Mm,
seance kind of stuff, and they
yeah.
find artifacts. And for that part, that's what they did. It was the whole reasoning behind all of that stuff that kind of threw me off a little bit. Not in a bad way, but it was like I went in expecting, like I was telling Toby off camera right before we go on, I was expecting a little more horror in my horror, and we'll get to that. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but it was a good movie. It kind of reminded me of like movies like Fright Night, Scream, kind of those kind of movies where it's kind of meta a little bit and kind of talks about the genre itself. And in that aspect, I really appreciated it. I really it just wasn't what I was expecting at all. And we'll get to that. But it was a great movie. It's not a bad movie at all.
Very entertaining.
Hmm.
Very
Very much so.
entertaining. You mentioned quite a few. I made a list because the horror tropes are. Can you get them all into one movie? Is it possible to cram every single horror trope into it? And not only just horror movies, but you have the tropes of the stoner comedy in there as well. Really, really, I mean, what do you do with when you're going to sit down to write a horror movie in 2011
Hmm.
when everything's been done? You
Yeah.
mentioned Scream. Scream took the horror tropes, the horror genre, and flipped it on its head. Where we're going to talk about it. We're actually going to say, hey, in horror movies, this is what happens. So let's make sure we don't do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And this one doesn't come out and talk about how it's a movie because this is really happening in this world.
Yeah, and right away, I think well, actually, not the first shot, but the first shot of the kids, the first kind
Yes,
of establishing scene, you're like, this woman is just standing or walking around in her panties, and I'm like,
right. It's
oh, okay,
ridiculous.
yeah.
Correct.
I was like, okay, well, this is harkens back to the '80s kind of slasher films, and
Absolutely.
and then they have the whole scene, and at the end, she's like, I have no pants on.
Right.
And as if we want to get into it, I feel like the first actual scene,
Okay.
this is what it kind of taught, or this is what I thought it was going to get into, which I was kind of right about. What It's not about being right or wrong, but it was just where I was leading me to is that I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be a reality show, and
Okay.
that all the horror in this was going to be like, I had this like scenes in my head of like, they try to kill somebody and they get away, and then they turn the camera and go like, I tried.
Nice.
What was I supposed to do? I did all the things, like that's where I thought it was going to go was, and it was sort of like that, but it wasn't. And yeah, so I immediately picked up on the kind of meta humor with that, just that one scene with the panty girl, and it was like,
Dana.
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And after that, it just, and so the only disappointment I had was that I was just expecting horror and I was ready for horror. So, you get in your mindset, kind of like you're ready for like, or just some sort of grotesque kind of scene or scenes. And for this one, it was more of like, okay, that was the only disappointment. Other than that, I had a good time watching this movie. It
Good.
just kind of
Okay.
shot me off a little bit. That's all. And I think when you asked me off camera, when you're like, "How'd you like the movie?" and I was like, "Oh, I wanted more horror in my horror." I could sense a little disappointment in you, but it was a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's. I mean, that's not a good take. I hadn't really thought of it
yeah,
in that way because the first time you watch this movie, and I think Christina and I went and saw it in the theater in 20. It's listed, the details say it's a 2011 movie, but the release date says April 13th, 2012. I
yeah,
don't remember when exactly it came out.
yeah.
It's 14 years old. And you've got some relatively unknown actors in as our main cast, and I think, and you have some veterans as the prologue,
Yeah,
if you want to call
yeah,
it a prologue. You
yeah.
have Richard Jenkins and Bradley Whitford in some like Cold War era, like is they're wearing like white shirt sleeves and ties, and it looks very militaristic and
And they're in the break room. It looks kind of
right.
corporate. Yeah,
They're at a vending machine and they've been doing this way too
yeah.
long and they were just kind of bored with it. And every time, oh, this happens all the time. This blah blah. Blah. But every time I watch it, every year, I see something different. I see, like I said, so Christina and I watched it earlier this week as our yearly viewing, and we were both like, okay, now what do you think? Like when the Harbinger is a good Mordecai, the Harbinger says some things, and we're like, hang on. He said something about how the fool almost broke the incantation, and we're like, what did he say? What did the fool say? That was how he was almost. So it's little things like that where there is so much to see and so much going on. And when you see the scenes in the control room where everything in the background has a purpose. I
Yeah.
love writing like that. And you have Joss Whedon and Drew Goddard who wrote this. This is directed by Drew Goddard. This is his directorial debut. He would go on and do Bad Times at the El Royale after this. So
Okay, that's him. Okay.
yeah, and he hasn't directed a whole bunch. He's produced quite a bit, and you probably know him better as an actor too. He's been an actor, and Joss Whedon, of course, Buffy the Vampire
Mhm.
Slayer,
The
and
Avengers. Yeah.
right, he's got a huge long list. And these guys are both real big horror buffs,
Yeah.
and they obviously were fans of Scream because they wanted to take and you can see that you've got The Hills Have Eyes that you mentioned, Night of the Living Dead. I mean, I made a big list at the end where it's like you can see where it's paying homage to that
Yeah, 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 yeah.
100%, right?
Yeah.
And I just think it's so smartly written. It's just so enjoyable. And this year to prep for it, watched it earlier in the week, and then just last night I watched a couple of first time reactions, and I got like this sense of like enjoying it for the first time again, like when you see it through somebody else's eyes and watching these people as they're watching the movie on YouTube and they're trying to guess everything that they're trying to guess what happens. And I think when you watch this the first time, you were, as you were saying, you were trying to figure out what was
Yeah.
going on,
Yeah,
and you were
definitely.
probably close, and then something would happen and you're all, wait,
Yeah,
now what's happening now?
exactly.
It's so unique, and I love that. I wish there were more movies like this.
Yeah, I think this is kind of like a palate cleanser, right? I think every once in a
Yes.
while it has to kind of the genre, whatever genre it is. I think horror movie is especially ripe for this kind of thing because you can only take the tropes so far. And I think it has to have a movie like this once a decade or so. And it kind of refreshes the horror genre a little bit because I mean, again, there's like we watched the Howling last week, or yeah, for last week, and that it's the werewolf thing, and so inside of that trope of the werewolf movie, we were kind of talking about, well, you have to kind of, you can't just keep it to a werewolf. Like you have to make it a shapeshifter because werewolf in theory it only comes out he only wolfs out once a month, and he can't really make a movie that's just like, okay, one night and okay, whatever. So you make it, and so you have to have movies that kind of say, all right, this is we know what we're doing, we know all of
Right.
these things, and let's not make fun of it, but let's satirize it and kind of like yeah, refresh the palette and go, all right, here we go, now we're off again, and we're going to make some more good movies. And I think me and Scott did this podcast about our underrated yeah, like our recommendations, and mine was it was the horror western Bone Tomahawk. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good one. Yeah.
And I think, and my argument in that was that this is where the genre has to go if it's going to kind of get out of the kind of trench that it's in.
Yeah.
You have to go more kind of grotesque and more into the evilness of horror. I feel like that's just my opinion. In order to kind of break out of the rut that horror can get into. That was, I wasn't really a big fan of the filmmaker. I've seen a couple of other of his films, and it's this kind of second tier Tarantino-esque, or trying to be Tarantino. But it's this movie hit because or Bone Tomahawk, I should say, hit because it was that dusk before dawn, or dawn. What was that? Dusk before
Yep.
dawn. Yeah,
From dusk till
yeah,
dawn.
from dusk
Yeah.
till dawn. Sorry.
That's a good, that's a great, yeah, that's a good connection. I was like,
Yeah,
what other ones are there? And you're right. Yeah.
yeah.
That's
It's
good.
where it's kind of like a story. It's character driven. It's kind
Hmm.
of setting a real world kind of place, and then it just gets into the absurd and the grotesque and all that. So, and I think that's what. And next week, for our next week film, we're kind of going to get into that, which is, should I drop it now, or
Go for it.
The Exorcist? We're going to be doing that next week, and so I think that you have to have that sort of mixture in it. And I think this movie, going back to Cabin in the Woods, I think
Hmm.
it's kind of, for me, I'm not a big horror movie fan. I love them, and I'll watch any one that you want, but it got kind of tired. So for me, it's kind of like I want to see some more good ones. I want to see some smart ones. I want to see some dark ones, and hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully, it'll get me to kind of investigate the genre a little bit, but better and deeper
And warmer.
and warmer.
The thing with horrors is you can crank them out fairly quickly. They're easy to
Cheap.
make.
Yeah.
They're cheap, and people go and watch them. They make money, or they
Yeah.
always make money. So
Yeah.
you're going to have this genre. It's just something that's going to happen. How do you know how to kill a werewolf? You know how to kill a vampire. These are, I mean, it's cliche at this point.
Mhm.
So how do you move the conversation forward? I think this one, and please, there's heavy spoilers at the end of this as we get near the end of the movie, because we are going to talk about
Yeah.
the whole thing. Not every single scene, but we will hit on all the big parts and where this ends up going. So we'll warn you about that if you haven't seen it, but just give it a shot. It's on HBO right now. You can just stream it anytime if you have
Yeah.
HBO.
Toby, let me ask you this question.
Shoot, go
In
ahead,
terms
shoot.
of the horror genre, what kind of horror movies are especially your favorites?
Yeah, well, we have a tendency to watch a horror movie once throughout the whole month of October, Christina's favorite genre. So we have the Shutter
Yeah.
app for and there's stuff on there that, like I said, there's so many, there's not time enough. You could watch a new horror movie every single day for years and not never there's a lot of foreign movies that are really good, like boy, you know what's super scary to me? That's a PG-13 horror movie is The Ring.
Oh
That
yeah.
shit scares me so
Yeah.
much, dude.
Yeah.
I do not like the face in the. That's just such a terrifying. It's like a new take on Jason. You know, I grew up being the big Jason
Yeah.
fan. We
Right.
talked about Jason, how he's terrifying to me because he's not running after you and he has nothing to say. Like Freddy's just got these big long monologues, and I'm like, okay, it does nothing for me. This just not scary. but the looming crawling death, if you will, that's coming, and there's nothing you can do to stop it, and there's nothing you can do to really kill it either. The ring, that the girl with the hair, and we get to see we get to see the girl with the hair in this one, which is like, oh no, no, not that, and we get to see a werewolf, and I like that psychological, more of a
Yeah.
psychological,
Yeah.
that scares me more now than any kind of jump scares, and the cat leaping off a counter onto somebody's back, which doesn't happen, by the way. I've had cats my entire life. They don't jump off of counters on top of you. Come on. So yeah, I'm more into that. I'm more into the kind of the lone person. The ring, like I said, the ring is really scary to me. And then Bong Joon Ho makes some. I don't know if you call them horror movies, but his movies really just stick to my guts.
Yeah.
And I'll just, like, I don't know if I am down to watch Parasite again.
I haven't seen that one. I've heard a lot of good things about it.
I'm just like, I don't know what you call it. What about you? You're looking for what in your horror? You want to be scared. What's going to scare you?
You kind of hit on it, kind of like the Jordan Peele kind of stuff, the psychological stuff,
Nice.
um, the stuff that's kind of Twilight Zoney. That's a very favorite kind of subgenre of mine. I don't know what you would call it. Maybe yeah, psychological thriller, or horror or something, where it's kind of unique onto each character. Like
Hmm.
I would say The Ring is probably up there. It's like a curse, or it's that one. For me, I saw it and I was like, and then at night, going home to sleep that night, I'm looking under my covers, and
Right. Nice.
like that it didn't hit me like that. A movie hadn't hit me like that in a long time, since I was probably a
Right.
kid. And so, but I think I find comfort in a lot of the old school kind of horror, which is Dracula, Frankenstein. And I appreciate the attempts to kind of revive those kind of movies. Like I loved Coppola's take on Dracula.
Okay.
I loved Frank Langella's take on Dracula, and I forget who did that movie. I think it was the guy that did War Games. I can't remember. I had it. Oh, well. Anyways, back in 78, 79. I love that one. I saw on HBO when I was a kid, and it scared the crap out of me. So
Nice.
there's these kind of, horror for me is kind of the tried and true, but I also want it to I want it to evolve, and like anything, I just want it to progressively get weirder and weirder, or scarier and scarier. So, for me, it's a mixture between the tried and true kind of old school classic horrors, and then try that, start there, and then just kind of veer off into the psychological. Like for me, it's all about the psychological, because that I took a lot of acid when I was a kid. That tends to make you want to explore these avenues
Sure.
of humanity, or humanity's place, or the evils that lie within, that kind of thing. So that's why I am that the way I am about my horror, is like kind of picky about it, but not very hard to kind of please, if that makes any sense.
It does. Let me give you some people have been asking, well, what's out now that would kind of fill the gap? Like what's new in horror now? I'll give you three examples, and then we'll get into Cabin in the Woods.
Okay.
Last year, and it's streaming on HBO right now, is The Substance. You have
Oh
to watch
yeah.
The Substance.
Okay. Let me write
That's
these down.
considered a body horror. So body horror is kind of a lot. If you have a kind of a squeamish stomach and you're into practical effects, or it would be hard to have both of those. So if that's what scares you, and that kind of that
Yeah.
psychological
Yeah.
substance, weapons is just, I think was just, we saw that in the theater. And then Bring Her Back just dropped. We watched Bring Her Back, I think, last week, and I think I'm pretty good on maybe not. I said that was one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. I'm never watching it again.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If that makes sense to
No,
you. I was
yeah.
like, I'm good. That it messed me up, man. Bring Her Back, and that's streaming, I think, on HBO as well. So
That would that qualify as psychological to bring her back? It sounds
yes,
like
and
it does.
body
And
and
body.
body and practical effects.
because I
Yeah,
feel
and just what you're trying the whole time you're trying to figure out what's happening. What is the there's something that you have to everybody's under a spell or somebody's under a spell. Who's doing it? Who's the puppet master, if you will? And puppet master comes up in Cabin in the Woods. And when you find out what it and again, you're trying to guess.
yeah,
You're trying to figure it out. It's a maze, and you're trying to sometimes it's just hard to just sit and enjoy a movie, especially with horror movies. I'm immediately going to try to figure out what's happening and who's I think we've been told what to expect at the beginning. We've been given all the clues, and now we have 80 minutes until the end and to find out if we're right or not. And
yeah,
sometimes that's not the formula.
right,
There's another one where it zags where it's like
yeah,
it's not for you to figure out.
yeah,
It
yeah.
just
That
is,
yeah.
guys.
Well, I think the beauty of the Cabin in the Woods is that like I said before, it kind of let's see, how do I articulate this? Like it kind of makes it it brings a kind of lightness to it, but at the same time kind of pointing out the stupidity of not stupidity, the rote kind of characters, or the rote kind of like story beats in a horror movie. And it kind of that was the thing that threw me off the most, surprisingly enough, was that kind of lightness of like, okay, I'm ready to get scared, I'm ready to like shit my pants, and then all of a sudden it's, oh, okay, well, it's not any of that. Well, it is, but it isn't. And it's a really funny and smart kind of way of just pointing out those things. And I didn't expect that. And I think that's the allure of this movie, would
Hmm.
be like the idea that you go in expecting one thing, but then it's just, like you said, it totally zags and it
Hmm.
becomes something else that kind of invites that sort of, all right, try to guess where we're going, because to me, like there's a scene in the movie where I think Chris, what's his name? I keep wanting to say
Yeah,
Chris
Chris
Pratt.
Hemsworth, Kurt,
Hemsworth
Thor.
is like, let's get out of here.
Hmm.
And then they, flick some switch. And then he's like, on second thought, let's split up. I think we have a
Right.
better chance. And you kind of get I got the feeling anyways of like, they're getting led into kind of the don't even know the word, but the kind of, they're getting led back into a horror movie instead of doing what you would normally do. Like if someone killed your girlfriend, you would be like, I'm out of here. I'm not
100.
sticking
Right.
around, but for them, it's like they need to play out their roles. And
Well,
yeah,
let's talk about it. Let's
yeah,
talk about
yeah,
it because you're getting right into the meat of it. That's where it really starts. There's a bunch of oh no, my guy.
yeah. Did we get that on camera?
We did. We can cut all this out, but yeah, hang on a second.
Went down the wrong pipe.
I thought your eyeballs were going to pop out of your head. You're like your little cousin drinking out of the hose.
Oh shit. I went down the
No.
wrong pipe and I was
Yeah, that was yeah. And
anyways.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Pick a cheering. Cabin in the Woods, starring Kristen Connolly as Dana, Chris Hemsworth as Kurt, Anna Hutchinson as Jules, Fran Kranz as Marty. I don't know if is it Fran Kranz or Fran Kranz. He's amazing. He was in The Village. I'm like, what else have I seen him in? He was in The Village.
The
And
Village,
of
the M.
course,
Night Shyamalan movie? The
yes,
Village?
yeah,
Okay. All
yeah.
right.
He didn't have a big part. He was, young at the time, so he
Okay.
would have
Yeah.
been kind of one of the younger kids. Jesse Williams from Grey's Anatomy, of course, as Holden. And then you have two of my favorites. So I said relatively unknowns. Everybody knows Jesse Williams from Grey's Anatomy. If
Yeah.
you watch Grey's Anatomy, he's on 200 episodes of that. And, the reaction the two reaction podcasts that I watched, it was hosted the ladies who hosted both of them. It was a pair of each. They were just both all, he better not die. I'm like, everybody, you think everybody's crazy about Chris Hemsworth, but no, everybody
Yeah.
was just like, come on,
Yeah.
Jesse. And then you have, of course, the great Richard Jenkins from Step Brothers as Sitterson, and Bradley Whitford, who's maybe my all-time favorite. He's my man crush. Bradley Whitford as Hadley. Bradley Whitford is so good in this, and so is Fran Kranz as Marty. They're my two favorite characters, and I'll just go ahead. You can have one as your Clay Thompson, and I'll take the other
Yeah.
because it's a tie between those guys as far as I'm concerned. Then you have Tim DeZarn as Mordecai, the Harbinger.
Yeah.
Brian White as Truman. He's the security guy who's with Richard Jenkins and Bradley Whitford. And then you have the director, played by Sigourney Weaver. So again, you have some relatively unknowns. You have veterans. You have veterans of the genre and Sigourney Weaver with Alien and the whole Alien franchise. It's the soundtrack, the music, the score is by David Julian, who did the scores for Prestige, Insomnia, and Memento.
Oh wow!
All Christopher Nolan movies before Christopher Nolan started. And I'm drawing a blank, but Christopher Nolan usually from that point forward started using a different
Hans Zimmer. Yeah.
Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was filmed in Canada. I didn't look at the budget. I thought there was great special effects, great practical effects. And so, yeah, let's just jump right into it. We talked about the opening scene. They're driving in some underground bunker. Then the title card comes up with the scream, the jump scare.
Yeah.
They're already the sting. I think then we see the five heroes. You got the stoner, you got the jock, you got the blonde Jules, who has just dyed her hair blonde, and we find out why. You have the scholar, and then you're trying to figure out what is Dana. Dana's role in this, her trope is she's the virgin.
Yeah.
She's not a virgin, but like they say, we deal with what we got. So, which I really dig. She's all, "What do you mean? I'm not the virgin." Hey, we do the best we can.
Yeah.
We find out. So they're going to go away for the weekend. They get into Winnebago. It's very hills have eyes. They get into Winnebago and they're going off down the road to, I believe it's Chris Hemsworth's
cousin.
He believes it's his uncle or his cousin's cabin in the woods.
Yeah,
and he's never been there. The Tillerson property. They stop to get gas and they meet the cranky old man, right? Mordecai. He's all, "Yeah, well, nothing's been out here since the war." They're all, which war is that?" "You know damn well what war." And there's some of the funniest lines in this, I think, is when Marty, the stoner, comes walking up, and maybe this is what he was talking about when he almost broke the incantation. "Would that be the war, gray versus blue?
Brother versus brother
against brother, perhaps?" I mean, just downright hilarious lines. There's some just really, really funny, still laugh out loud funny. I know what line is coming, and I still laugh out loud. He insults him, and he spits his chew spit down, and they all get back, and Marty's still standing there, and he looks down at the chew spit, and he goes, "Well, good luck with your business, sir. I hear the railroad's coming through here someday. That's going to be real big. Streets paved with actual street."
Yeah.
God, I love Marty so much. At this point, you're like, I freaking love Marty, and he's just smoking weed the whole time.
Oh, yeah. That's yeah. Go ahead.
Right?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts? They get enough gas to get them to Tillerson Road, and then he says, "Did you pump enough?" And he's all, "I got enough to get there. Getting back, that's your concern."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Okay, whatever. Let's get the fuck out of here, dude. This guy's creeping us out."
Honestly, my thoughts about up until that scene were, I thought maybe it was, again, some sort of reality show. And what's funny is where I got some laughs out of that scene as well. But what really got me was when they call the dude and he's like, "Hey, am I on speakerphone?"
Yes, yeah.
No. But that's just rude, man, or whatever.
That's what made me laugh. Like big elaborate thing, and he's doing he does this every year.
Yeah.
He has to do this every year.
Yeah. So that's why I thought this was like a reality show. I was like, oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay. So all the killers are going to be like, we're hired guns. We're not really going to kill them. We're just going to kill them maybe off screen. And so like, that's what I was thinking. And during this time was kind of like, okay, I'm still in this thing of like, is this some sort of reality show or is this some sort of thing? And that's how I was thinking about it. And then when I saw the eagle hit
Yes, I
into
was just going to ask you.
yeah,
When the
the
eagle hits the force field, what you're going,
I'm like, I don't know what's going on here.
no, I don't know
Are
what's
they
going on.
aliens? They're
Yeah.
aliens and they're studying us and they're making up all this stuff. And then they have the phone call with
They
Mordecai. Is that his name? Yeah.
Mordecai and Bradley Whitford answers, "Hey, Mordecai, buddy, how's the weather up top?" And you're like, "Up top," so they're underground. You're because you can wherever this white, they're all in suits, and there's people with lab coats and clipboards,
Yeah.
and there's monitors all over the place, and they're bored with it. They've been doing this job a long time. They're
Yeah.
middle-aged men, and the rest of the people in the movie are fairly young. They're in
Young.
college.
Yeah.
They're all
Yeah.
college students, right? And so you're like, okay. I mean, I was, very kind of Truman showy,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The little hints that we get, the Winnebago gets to the cabin, the kids go in and they split up and they go into their rooms, and then we kind of see back to the control room where they drop little hints. Like Richard Jenkins says, he turns to the security. I was just said their names and I can't remember. It's not super important. Brian White is Truman. He's all, man, this is fucked up. And he's all, you understand what we're doing here, right? We have to. And as the audience watching it for the first time, you're like, no idea what is
Yeah.
happening. He's all that we got to please the customer.
Yeah.
And then you're going, well, hang on. Okay, so is this some weird, like, this is where, like, the elites, like, the people that are, I don't know, Illuminati or the, that have more money than they can spend are want to watch people die? Because there's been some things like that. I mean, the island of Dr. Moreau is
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
a little bit like that, where you're like, okay, so there are people watching this on pay-per-view, because at a certain point, you've done everything and nothing's shocking to you anymore, so then you have to get into, I don't know, cockfighting,
Yeah.
because you need blood sport. Like, you need to
Yeah.
be into that. I need to see young people die for my pleasure. And you're like, okay, so it's probably something super gross like that, and this it looks like a government run operation of some kind. They're underground. How would
Yeah.
you, in this big, like, kind of round, you see them driving, but they drive from the break room. They get in golf carts at the
Yeah.
beginning,
Yeah.
and they go like these. They have to drive to the control room. This place is huge, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you see all the golf carts, and you see all the different tunnels they can take, and it's going. This thing is massive, and we'll get to that obviously. But
Yeah.
yeah, the Mordecai's called, the lambs have passed through the gate. The fool, yeah. So then they start taking bets in the control room, right? Like, everybody's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
it's kind of that gallows humor where you're like, they're gonna guess who, you're thinking they're taking bets on
Who will get
who's gonna
summoned, right?
die first.
Oh, yeah. 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 Die
You're kind of
first.
wondering, once we find out that, okay, let's get to it. They start to party. Well,
Yeah.
no, we see Dana in one room and Holden in the other room, and he's got this creepy ass picture on the wall. Holden's
That's
got this
right.
creepy ass picture with a painting on the wall of these, looks like zombies, like slaughtering a goat or something. And he takes it down, and it's a two-way mirror, two-way glass. And Dana, the virgin, starts to take her top off. Now, here's one of the things I really liked about Holden's character
Uh,
is, in a regular horror movie, he'd stand there and watch her get naked, right? And we're all thinking, because I mean, that's just what rated R movies do. You're going to see boobies. You're
yeah.
going to see people are going to be screwing, and
Yeah.
the killer's going to kill them while they're screwing. That's
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
Friday the 13th movie, all of them, right? We've seen it, been there, done that. So he's like kind of debating, and finally he's like, okay, hang on. And he stops her, shows everybody that, what the hell is going on here. And Marty's like, well, it was pioneer days. They had to make their own interrogation rooms. You're like, what? Okay.
What
So,
trope were they making fun of that? Was it just the idea that they were getting undressed for no particular reason, or is the two-way mirror some sort of, like, I don't know, thing in horror movies? Because I had never really have seen one,
well,
and let us
what
know.
we what we find out is as they're in the cabin in the woods, they are now, once they've made it to the killing floor, as he says, the lambs have come through the gate and they've made it to the, at this point they're getting manipulated by drugs. They're getting also, the control room controls the pheromone level in the room. They've it turns out we find out that the whore Jules has just dyed her hair, and they put drugs in her hair dye so to make her more promiscuous. They need to,
Mm-hmm.
and as we find out, as they one by one, the whore has to die first, and then there are rules to the game being played by the puppet masters. They have to follow these certain rules, so they set her up first. She's gonna go first. We find that out I mean, I say fairly early in the movie. We don't see anybody die until the minute 44 of this movie. So like you say, I want to see a little bit more horror in my horror movies. I can
Yeah.
understand why you would think that. But the tension seems to have been building up. Would you agree with that? Is the tension built up at all?
Well, yeah, in a sense, yes, because you're waiting for something to happen. Like I
Yeah.
think the first thing that really kind of got was like, oh, something's gonna happen here, was when they dare the girl to make out with the werewolf head,
Right.
which you don't realize, or what I didn't realize,
Which
maybe
she
this is,
does.
yeah, what she does. But what I
Right.
didn't realize was that because while she was kissing that thing, I was like, that's a real life head. The tongue's
Yeah.
like the tongue is moving, the teeth are kind of not moving. Like when she touches it, you see that she's like does something with the like her thumb inadvertently, I guess, rubs up against the tongue, and you see the tongue moves. And then it comes back to that was a real werewolf because at the end, the werewolf comes out and attacks one of the ladies. We'll get to that
Right.
later.
Right.
But I was like, well, that's going to play in somehow. Like that's going to come to
Yeah.
life, or that's going to,
Yeah.
because of, and the mouth kind of moved. Like when she puts her hand on the mouth to make out with it, it's like the thing is moving. And I'm like, that's going to come back somehow. Either that's going to come alive right now and bite her face off, and so, yeah, there was a sense of that. Like there is
Okay.
something coming. So yeah, I did have some tension. There was some tension built up.
And there's the score. There's a little bit with it where you can hear the boom boom, like the heartbeat is
Yeah.
is getting a little bit louder,
Yeah.
and you're wondering as they're all playing truth or dare, is something gonna
Yeah.
bust through?
Because that's the trope, right? You play
Right.
truth or dare, and like he said, "Oh, I'm gonna dare you to do something. You're gonna freak out," and you know,
Right.
so you're waiting for something to happen there. Yeah,
And then nothing does happen. The two that are the pheromones are the boyfriend girlfriend Jules and God I forget the Chris Hemsworth character. They go outside to go into the woods to have sex in the woods, like you do. So now they split
Kurt.
up.
His name is Kurt.
Kurt, thank
Yeah,
you, thank you, God. Again,
old
watch it
man
all the
brain.
time. Yeah, I've got it written right in front of me too, and I'm just not. At this point, you start to see. So now they go out into the woods to screw, which they do, and you see the mist level. You see the lever and the thing go up. The mist starts coming up. They well before they split up. The cellar door busts open, and they go
Yeah.
down into the cellar. So now at this point, now the game is on, and I love the cellar because you get to see all the you they here's where you're shown all of the things in this room. You don't realize it the first time you're seeing it. You see the you see the music box with the dancing with the ballerina. You see the conch shell
Hmm.
that Kurt picks up and goes to dust off, and he blows it, and it almost blows it, right? He almost blows it. You hear it go. There's an amulet, and then Dana picks up the book and starts reading from the Buckner diary
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
100 and some odd years ago. And then she gets to the end. Oh, there's the puzzle box. One of them picks up the puzzle box, starts fucking with the puzzle box. And and everyone in the control room's like, here it is. They're going to
Yeah.
pick. They're going to
Yeah.
choose what, like, it's kind of like in Ghostbusters. You got to choose the form
Form
of
of
the
your
destroyer.
destructor. Yeah.
The destructor. We didn't hang on. We didn't choose anything. I didn't choose anything. You choose something. I didn't choose anything. And so here's where they make the choice, and all of these options are right there. And she gets to she reads from the patient's Buckner's diary and talk about how father was cross with me and he chopped off my arm, and he was pleased with the other two members of the family for what they had done to those strangers. And what she reads is really kind of gross. And meanwhile, they're kind of panning from person to person as they're
Yeah.
manipulating and almost choosing. They almost all kind of choose at the same time. And she gets to the end, and there's a phrase in Latin, and Marty's all, I'm drawing a line in the fucking sand. Do not read the Latin. Like, he's figuring out something's not right about this, right? He's like, what the fuck is all this stuff down here in this basement, in this cellar? So she reads the Latin, and the Buckners rise from the grave. And now you have the zombies. So they've chosen the Buckners, which is, I love that Richard Jenkins. All right, we have a winner, and the winner is maintenance. You go over to the board and you see all the list of all the different things that people have placed bets, and maintenance, and Brad, the one other guy. Woohoo! He's all the way in the back.
Let's talk about the names on that list. Or
Oh my
yeah, there was
God.
the names, right? There was,
Horrifying.
yeah, and Bradley Whitford's has ever wanted to see is a merman.
He just wants to
Merman.
see a merman, but once in it, he's like, he had it in his hand, he had the conch in his hands. He's all, yeah, man, you don't want to see those things are fucking terrifying.
But we have werewolf, alien beasts, mutants, wraiths, zombies, reptilius, clowns, witches, sexy witches, demons,
Sexy
hellward.
witches.
Now, yeah, I'll ask that later. I had a
Keep
question.
going, man, because keep going. They're all on the list for a reason.
Mummy, the Bride, Kevin, whoever that is,
Right.
Snowman, Dragon Bat, vampires, dismemberment, goblins, Sugar Plum Fairy,
Oof.
Merman, the reanimated unicorn, the Huron, Sasquatch, Wendigo, Yeti,
Squad.
dolls, the doctors, zombie redneck torture family, giant.
That's the Buckners.
Yeah, that's who they summon. And
That's
the twins,
who they summon.
jack-o'-lantern, and giant alligator. And I don't know if I got them all, but I have a
Did you pause
screenshot.
it?
Yeah, screenshot.
Okay, good. Because
Yeah,
I've never done that, but I'm like, I have a feeling that they're all on here for a reason. And now when you read them all off, yeah, they're all on here for a reason.
Yeah.
So good. So fucking good. All right. So the Buckners come, and then Jules and Kurt go out. They go out into the woods to screw, and then now the pheromones are getting pumped in, like full mist of pheromones, right?
Because it's like a fog.
It's like a fog right. And then the Buckners attack. They get Jules. Jules goes first. The whore has to go first, guys. I'm not the. That's what they say in the movie.
We're just the messenger.
This is what the. And then we see a lever get thrown, glass breaks, and blood flows through this big machinery thing. Now, at this point, watching it for the first time, what are you thinking now?
I'm still on the reality show thing. The eagle flying into the thing kind of took me out a little bit. I was like, aliens? Like, what is this thing? Maybe it's an alien.
It's interesting. I hadn't considered aliens. That's okay.
Like they captured us, or we're in like you said, a Truman Show kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then when we get back to this, I was like, okay, this is reality show. This is a reality show. These guys, but it's kind of like what was that Ice-T movie back in the 90s where they're hunting him down, and he's on this rich person's island, and they let him loose, and they're all hunting him. I thought, okay, well, maybe it's that kind of thing where these people are actually hunting us, and they're not really zombies, but they're hired to be dressed up, but they really kill them. So I just thought it was a reality show. I'm still on the reality show kick here.
Okay.
And yeah, I think there was even a point where I thought, okay, reality show meets The Running Man, where there's an audience watching in some way.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like Hunger Games or something.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. So I thought maybe this is some sort of reality show, and then at the end we're gonna see like an audience watching it or something. So I'm still on the reality shows thing right here.
Okay.
As we go.
So as the Buckners have now been summoned, and they have 100% clearance rate, as we hear. And Bradley turns to Jenkins and he says, "Should we call Japan? Like, just let them know we got it under control." Yeah. And at this point, we're like, "Call Japan." And
then you see some chaos going in, and some
Japanese see chaos going on. Right. And there's screens all around where you get to see what's going on in other,
countries. Yeah,
other cabins in the woods
yeah, yeah,
situations all over the world. This is going on in like what, every time zone, maybe. We don't, it's that part's not super clear, but they
right.
show us Japan is the one where they've cut to where we actually get to see the
Yeah,
five girls that are dealing with the freaking ring girl,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Hiko, they call her. And they right,
yeah.
yeah. In the control room, that's where the security guys creep down. I do like that as Jules is, she does take her top off, and as they are,
Uh-huh.
getting into it in the woods, that they get back in the control room. Both guys are just stone quiet, just creepy old
And
men,
then you
right?
see
They're
you
just all,
see
show us the goods, show
you,
us the
you then you
goods.
see, then you see the guard in the back going,
Yeah, right. I mean, at the same, they are guys after all, right? I mean, they've been waiting longer than we have all day for this moment, right? And I mean, not only for we do. She, unfortunately, she does have to die horribly, but we do get to see him. He's all,
yeah,
yeah. Give the customers what they want. So it does kind of seem like it's like a pay-per-view thing, right?
yeah,
Marty goes outside and he looks up and he's like, I thought there'd be stars. And you're like, so yeah, you're in like a domed kind of
yeah,
world, like that force field. And he's really kind of, this is not, something's not right, right? Chris Hemsworth, Kurt comes running back because his girlfriend just got murdered. And he's
yeah.
all, get back into the house. They all go running back into the house. And then, like you said, he was like, we need to stay together. And Bradley Whitford's all, oh, God. And he's all, and then Richard Jenkins will watch the master work, and then they flick the switch, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, we need to split up. Like, yeah, okay, they can't stay all together; it won't
Yeah.
work, right?
Right,
You gotta
right.
somehow split them up, and then they split up and they go into separate rooms and they lock them in, boom, and the fucking place locks down. Marty finds the camera. He's like, what the? He knocks over the
Yeah.
lamp, and then he
Yeah.
sees the little camera. He's looking into it, and they're then back in the control room, and they're all, that's not good. They're like, okay, everybody, okay, calm down. The way they break the tension. I mean, this is a horror. There are horrifying zombies that are breaking in the door. One of them
Yeah.
just tossed Jules's head in and caught it, and you're like, oh, dude, they're done, right? Well, there's no way they escape. And it looks like Marty is great. He's standing too close to the window, right? And you're like, get away from the window, Marty,
Yeah.
get out of
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He gets pulled out of the window, and then they flick that switch. They're like, okay, he's gone.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing that kind of took me out of this is a horror movie, was they were getting stabbed and still not die. Like
And they were okay.
the guy that smoked a lot of pot gets stabbed right in the spine, like in the middle of his back.
Yeah,
And then he comes back and he's like, hey, let's go, running around and
yeah.
stuff. And it's like that. Okay, so this is some sort of reality show. Has to be like, this is a put on. This is kind of making fun of horror movies, and somehow still didn't get that, what it was. And yeah. So
Well,
anyways,
they are
continue.
the zombie redneck torture family. They're not just any zombie redneck torture family. They're our zombie redneck torture family.
Well, he has this device that it's like a square with
It's like a bear
yeah,
trap kind of thing.
and he
It's hard to
throws it
figure out.
at you, catches you
Yeah,
in the back, and then he's pulling up this dude, and I'm like, that dude shouldn't be able. He's dead. He's gonna bleed out,
I mean,
and
you're right.
he's hanging,
Yeah,
and then he's fine. Let's go. They
right.
get him out. I'm like,
That's
all
true.
right,
There's quite a bit of that. That's true. So then
yeah,
now there's down to three of them. They
yeah.
get in the Winnebago. They go to get out. We got to get out of here. And back in the control room, they're getting away. Well, we got to blow the tunnel.
No, well,
And
they thought the tunnel was already
open.
blown. Yeah,
They thought the tunnel was already blown.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And so now it's a mad scramble because if they get out,
yeah,
if the ancients, and at this point, on the control room, he's talking to, I think, the lab coat girl. I think her name is Lab Coat Girl in the credits. she's in the lab, and she says something right at the end. She says, "Well, if the ancients rise," and you're like, "What the? If the ancients rise?" So now you're like, they can't get away. You're kind of almost like your sympathies, your empathy for which team you're rooting for is kind of, well, hang on a minute. So
I
they
thought
blow
that
the
was like a
tunnel.
yeah, I thought that
What
that
do you?
was a reference to like their board or something, the ancients. You know,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
they always have like names like that for like board members. Oh man, you know,
Okay.
like in Vanilla Sky, they call them something the
Yeah.
five, and you know, so I just thought they're referring to their board of directors or something.
The Pentaveret.
Yeah.
They
So they blow up the cave.
they blow up the cave at the last second, almost get away, back the thing out. Kurt's gonna jump the motorcycle. Because now we see that there's a motorcycle on the back of this. You haven't noticed it before, but brought his
Oh, I
motorcycle
noticed
with
it.
him. And they're
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
okay. So you're like, oh, he's gonna jump his motorcycle across the ravine. And you're almost like, dude, I don't think you can get across that ravine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Dana's thinking the same thing. She's kind of along with Marty at this point, where she's kind of seeing the puppeteers. She's like, I don't think this is. And of course, he crashes into mid jump, crashes into the force field, and now it's down to two of them. And then we see that Kurt's dead. So that thing, now the third vial gets broken, and the third lever is thrown back in the control room, and they get back in the Winnebago, the two of them, and he's like, when we get back, we got to stay together. She's like, she's already reserved to the point where we can't get away. There's this is something bigger going on here, and no matter what we do, we're not going to make. And right then, one of the Buckners has been in the Winnebago, and you get the sword through the back of his, and now Williams is gone. No, damn it, Grey's Anatomy guy, and so now they think that's it. They've won because so now they start partying in the control room, right? Because four were
Yeah.
dead, and the
The
Virgin doesn't
virgins
have to
left.
die,
Yeah.
and all she has to do is just be tortured. She has to feel some pain, and they're like, we've accomplished it. So they start partying, and what is this? Is it a Chicago song that's playing in the? I
Forget.
forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're like, oh, dude, yeah. And they keep on rolling, and they're just all partying, right? And then the red phone rings, and the whole place, turn the fucking music off. And it's just silence, right? So good. And I'm just like, dude, here we go. And now you're trying to figure out, what did they do wrong?
Yeah, that's the thing for so I'm still having a good time with this movie.
Sure.
I'm like, okay, that's you know, this is kind of subverting my expectations. Let's see where this goes. And it's just these you're kind of riding the you're kind of with the government guys. At this point I am because I'm like, okay, so they're the ones controlling all of this stuff. I kind of want to and each step there's always this happens. Okay, oh, okay. There's always this thing that kind of steps up the tension, right? And then
Yeah,
this scene, it's that phone call, and you're like, they don't say it's just the reaction to that phone call that tells you everything you need to know. Of like,
that's right.
shit, there's something going on here, like that
Yeah.
never
Oh,
really
shit is
happens
right.
before. And
Yeah.
so you go back when they go back to the actual story, you see, you can go ahead and explain it from there.
Well, yeah, you see that you're trying to figure out which one of them. They're like, no, no, we did it right. No, what do you
Yeah,
mean? And you're only hearing one end of the conversation,
yeah. No,
and you're trying to figure
I'm
out
not
who.
questioning you. Yeah, yeah,
No, right. I'm not. No, I'm not questioning you. Right, right. And as it turns out, we never really saw Marty die. And
right.
what had happened, he kind of explains it really briefly, that when he got pulled through, they're torture zombies, so they don't kill
Yeah.
you right away. They want to
Right.
torture you, and
Yeah.
he got away. And he got away by climbing back down into the grave that they came out of, and realizing that it's not a grave at all; it's an elevator.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he
Yeah.
comes to Dana's rescue, who's being tortured, and she doesn't necessarily have to die, but he is a zombie redneck torture zombie, and he's gonna mess with her, and he's throwing her through the air, and she's landing, and she's getting that big claw thing in her back, and again, at some point, she's probably not getting up and running away, but with all the pain and she's covered in blood and she gets up and runs away. When Marty comes to the rescue with his bong, that bong comes in handy so many times. They were like, "You driving around with a bong?" In the beginning, when you meet him and he turns into a coffee mug, and
Yeah.
you're like, I first of all, I need to get one of those. Like,
Yeah.
first time I saw it, I was like, I didn't realize that was a thing that existed. I kind of hope it does. And he comes to the rescue, takes her. They hotwire the elevator, and they're back in the control room. They say something that's like a glitch from up. There was a power surge from upstairs. That's what they hear on the red phone, and it's Marty who's figured out that he's hotwired the. What do you mean a power surge from upstairs? They're like, what, who? They're looking around the control room like, which one of you guys screwed this up? And they're like,
Yeah.
no, none of us. And for some reason, they weren't paying attention to the cameras. They were too busy partying. If they had just been watching on the myriad cameras they have all over this, whatever this is, it's some domed world where,
Yeah.
it's down Tillerson Road, and you probably can't get to it if you're, not part of this world. If the Harbinger makes sure nobody drives down there, or the road's covered up every other time of the year or
Yeah.
something. No one ever knows that this is there. I kind of like those black site kind of things too, where you're like, you can look on Google Maps and you're like, yeah, but Google Maps is showing you what Google wants you to see. There
Yeah.
might be other stuff on there,
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so they go down the elevator.
And is that Jason Statham? Is that
Who?
him? The first guy they see with the things in his head, and he's like holding something, and that looked like him.
I don't know. I think Jason.
Okay.
That's a good question. You mean the puzzle box guy?
Yeah, and he's
The
just
guy
like,
with supposed to be like Hellraiser, and he's got a saw blade through his head. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Like,
but the dude's creepy.
yeah,
I would not want to summon that guy.
because they're going through this gallery of like all the horror movie kind of villains or whatever.
Yeah, we get to see him. We get to see the werewolf. We get to see. Let's see. What we get to see. Let's see. The puzzle boxes. This called the Cenobites. We get to see the ballerina with a whole mouth of a million teeth as a face.
Yeah.
She's the
Sugar Plum Fairy.
Sugar Plum Fairy.
Yeah. We see the
ghosts.
bride. Yeah.
We see the bride. And then it pans back and we see that it's like some crazy zoo.
Yeah.
A menagerie, and there's thousands of them. And you're like, okay, now this is all underground because they took an elevator down. And you're going, this is bigger than just some pay-per-view billionaires, elites that want to watch people die. This is a big, elaborate thing. And apparently it's going on all over the world because we find out that the girls have defeated chemo by singing with and turning it into a happy frog. And they're pissed because how hard is it to kill 9-year-olds, right? So they failed.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
All 5 of them gives them the five fuck yous. And I'm like, okay, this is really just all of
that
it,
was
dude.
funny. I laughed out loud on that one.
I mean, how hard is it to kill 5-year-olds or 9-year-olds? So they get down. The security. For some reason, one security guard shows up when the elevator doors open. The zombie arm gets him. They take out the security guard, and now the whole Black Ops team shows up, just full riot gear. And you see the button that says "Purge."
Yeah.
And you're all, oh hell yeah, dude. It slams the hand on the button and releases all of them into whatever this underground place is. And literally all hell breaks loose. I just love it so much. We get to see all the things you listed. The serpent thing. We saw the Sasquatch. We saw, everything on the board comes out.
The dragon bat.
Dragon bat. And then just all the elevator doors open and they all come out. And then there's one guy left. And then you hear the elevator doors go bing. And they all open again, and he's just all, oh no. And then another wave of them come out, and just over and over and over.
Yeah.
And in the control room, we hear the sloshing and slopping sound. And Bradley Whitford looks over, and as the mist is clearing, the merman comes slithering towards him. And he's all, oh, come on.
Yeah.
I got to see his merman. It was so rewarding. He'd been talking about it for the whole movie. Just loved it.
Yeah.
then we get to
So
our
these are
heroes.
the spoilers, by the way. If you
Sorry,
don't want to
yeah.
hear all this,
God,
this is
sorry, yeah.
no.
At a
That's
certain
fine.
point, we'll have to cut something in there where
Yeah,
when they come down the elevator.
yeah,
These are the spoilers here. So thank you for, because the movie's just about over at this point, and I just
yeah,
loved that the special effects here were great. The practical effects here were so good. I think the building is starting to shake, and you're thinking, how can they possibly get out of here? Have they won? Or they can't possibly escape from this place. There's thousands of these things, because at
yeah,
one point they're trying to figure out what they've made their way down into the cubes, right? Into these boxes, and they can't figure out where they're on. They're all there, 3365, and you're all, oh my God, how many cubes are there?
yeah,
360
yeah,
or something like that. It was a 4-digit number, and you're like, there's literally thousands of these nightmare box full and any one of these will take you out,
yeah,
and have successfully up to this
yeah,
point.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
Well,
just
I think
one.
yeah, and then I think this is where it kind of I feel like this is where the movie just doesn't stick the landing. And this is just my opinion.
Okay.
For me, this is kind of where I went, okay, this is just silly time. This is cool. It's funny, but it's just for me, this is where I kind of all right, it's gonna end soon, so let's see how they end it. Only because it just doesn't give me. It just I don't know. It just there was something about it that I just didn't connect with. I appreciated the fact that they're kind of making fun of the horror movie tropes and the horror movie genre in itself, but it just got too silly for me,
Okay.
and I was just always again I, I appreciated it. It just didn't stick the landing for me. That's what I got to
Okay.
say about this.
Okay.
But let me
Fair
know your
enough.
feelings about that. Yeah.
It is a lot. A lot is going on. Almost too much is happening.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was just like one thing after another after okay, cool. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, another one. All right, cool. Yeah, uh-huh. Okay. Oh, she's here. Okay, cool. What is it?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. And then by the end I was like, geez, all right, cool. And
Yeah.
it just was overkill for me, but
Okay.
yeah. But up until then, I had a great time with the movie.
When they get down to they go as far down as they can go. They're still trying to escape out
Yeah.
of all these things, right? And they get down onto this weird like platform that's in some cavern, and you hear the director's voice, and Sigourney Weaver shows up,
Yeah.
and she's
Yeah.
like, "Listen," she tells you what's going on. Okay, she says there has to be five, and
Mhm.
the virgin, the
Fool.
scholar, the
Yeah.
fool, and the virgin. And she's like, I'm not. She's like, me, a virgin. She's like, hey, we deal with what we can. We deal with what we got. And she's telling her, because Dana's got a gun. She's like, listen, you got to kill Marty. If you don't, the sun's coming up in 8 minutes. If you don't kill him, then the world will essentially end. The world as
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know it will end.
Yeah.
And you can either, she looks at Marty and she goes, you can either die for us or you can die with us. He's all, boy, both options are just so enticing. Funny all the way up to the end, right? And they're trying
Yeah.
to figure out, why is it that he was the fool, but he was actually the smartest one of the bunch. And it turned out the weed that they thought they had laced, his weed, they thought they'd kind of poisoned or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
rigged, actually had the opposite effect on him. So the more he smoked it, the smarter he got,
Yeah,
until
yeah, yeah.
he got to the cabin, and then they were poisoning and pumping in different
Yeah.
pheromones, and then he was reading picture books, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man, Calvin and Hobbes, you're just so topsy turvy, man. Like at that point, now he's kind of becoming a
Yeah.
fool. Like
Yeah.
the longer he was in the cabin, the dumber he got. And so once he was outside, then he realized, oh, there's no star. So I really kind of dug that. Once you were in the cabin, you were kind of screwed, because now you're being totally
Yeah.
manipulated.
Now you're subject to anything that happened or anything that they make happen.
Anything,
Yeah.
anything they want, yeah.
Yeah.
But they still have to choose. The one thing that they can do is, and it's kind of like the devil's advocate in that way, where it was like, I don't do that, Kevin. All free will, you have free will, and all I do is set the stage.
Yeah, yeah.
And I really kind of dug that part of it, in that but I mean, we'll push you in the right direction, but you're the one who has to make the decision.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
going to tell you
yeah,
what. I don't force you to do anything. I
yeah.
don't control your body. So they kill Sigourney Weaver instead, and you're like, okay, well, how are they gonna? At this point, you're like, okay, you hear the rumblings and they're like, I guess. And I think Dana says something here. It was one of the two characters where he says, well, I guess these ancient gods are gonna rise, and that what it's like. She's like, well, maybe it's someone else's turn,
Uh,
and they decide everybody's fate.
yeah.
Yeah, and they're smoking a joint, and they
And then
which
that
she
big
hadn't
hand
been,
comes out.
and the big hand
Yeah.
comes out, and then Nine Inch Nails' "Last" starts playing, which is a great choice for the end credits. I just freaking love that. That's a great way to end the movie. So, your thoughts on? Well, I think you've told us your thoughts. Would
Well,
you? Is this
yeah.
something you'd watch again?
If I was with some people and they say, "Hey, let's put on this movie," yeah, I would watch it again, no
Nice.
problem. I don't think I'll watch it like if I'm at home by myself on a Friday and I want
Okay.
to watch a horror movie. I don't think I would put it on. But at the end of this movie, honestly, I felt like I'm out. Was it outgrowing or I've aged out of some things. Like
Okay.
this summer, me and Scott went and saw Superman opening night Tuesday. It was a couple days before opening. It was like a Tuesday. We drove to Napa and went and saw it at the theater. And at the end of it, I just thought, I think I've aged out of that because it wasn't a bad movie, but
No.
it was too silly for me. It was
Yeah,
just
I agree.
it was all the problems that Marvel's been having the last 5 years. It was Superman, right? Because James Gunn was in Marvel and now he's bringing his talents over to DC. And I thought, well, this movie is not going to be a hit because there's no way that people are hating on Marvel, but then loving this movie for the same exact reasons they hate Marvel movies now. And then it just I saw just all this praise about Superman, and I thought I've aged out because I didn't see that at all. I saw a movie that was thin on plot,
Yeah.
so put a bunch of characters in and just have a bunch of scenes where Superman's kicking butt, and then have a cheesy speech. To me, it was just I just didn't enjoy that. But so I kind of thought that about this, especially the ending. I kind of thought that about this was that there's something I'm not getting because I feel like they were trying to say something with the ending, which was, these are just kind of the tropes of the horror movie genre that we're making fun of. And I was like, okay, I get that. But at the same time, I'm like, am I missing something? Because if that's the case, I got that like halfway in through the movie, right? Okay, cool. And then so the ending really, the reason why I didn't really connect with the ending was because it had already said all these things during the course of the movie. And so for
Okay.
me, the ending was just like, okay, we're just kind of we're kind of going, here you go. This is why we did this, and this is why we did that. And it's like, yeah, you already said like I already got that message through the movie. And that's why I just didn't connect with the ending up until like when they go down into the elevator. I'm like, oh, they're not really going to show all this, are they? And they do, and that's great.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I get it, but it just didn't hit for me. That's the only thing
Okay.
that I didn't like about this movie. But up until then, it was a blast. It was funny, It was like there's a lot of funny parts in it, and yeah, that's how I kind of thought about the movie. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for that because this movie, I was looking up some interviews and some reviews on it, and everybody
Uh
was
huh.
like, "This is a great movie. This is great. This is one of the best horror movies I've ever seen." And I didn't feel that way about it, but I
I
understand
got you.
why. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Nice.
that's my take. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Enjoyed it.
With the
I enjoyed it.
I agree. I think the so often we see a resolution at the end, no matter how bad horror movies get. We get to see a resolution,
Yeah,
and there is no resolution in this one. And I do finally
yeah.
like the bad guys actually win. In this case, that maybe there is no bad guy. I mean,
Right.
they're ancient gods that we have a deal with, and they are watching essentially pay-per-view because once a year they get to watch.
Yeah.
They get their
Yeah.
blood sacrifice, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And if they're not appeased, they will rise and rule the earth once again, which means the humans are dead.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
the humans are probably not going to survive this, and if they do, it's going to be a long time before they come up with another pack like this.
Yeah.
And I really dig that part of it. I like that we're all screwed at the end of this, and it's kind of
Yeah.
like Melancholia, where you think like you
Yeah.
remember
Oh, yeah.
Melancholia, where you're like, okay, so we all die, so we
Yeah.
all die at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I we don't see that. I don't think we see that very often, where we do all die. Because what's that leave you with? You walk out of the theater like, so we're all dead? Like they did choose. They chose
Yeah. Yeah.
for the ancients to rise up. They did. They did make they ultimately they made their choice.
Yeah.
And they were just like, okay, well maybe it's time that we're done. You know, humans are freaking stupid. This was stupid. Like why did they make us do all this? That fuck that. Let's let the ancients come back, right? Maybe it's their time to come back again. Yeah, I liked it. There was some tropes that I think. Let's see. There was we talked about quotes, pothead movie, horror, ritual sacrifice, things like that. Evil Dead, Hellraiser, The Thing. You saw a little bit of The Thing in here when you saw some of The Shining, Alien,
Yeah.
obviously, The Purge, Hunger Game, Truman Show, Friday the 13th. I mean, it had all
Anaconda.
of the
Yeah.
Anaconda. Nice, nice. Yeah, there are. It's hard to pick who the good guys were and who the bad. There were really no good guys and no bad guys. It is. This is a
Yeah.
situation that we find ourselves in once a year, and we have to go through the motions. And
Yeah.
Bradley Whitford and Richard Jenkins characters are literally just going through the motions. They are phoning
Yeah.
in and everything. He's like, "What are you doing on Monday?" I'm thinking about getting some power tools. Like they're just. This is just another day in the office for them, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, who's your? Let's talk about Clay Thompson Award. Who do you like as your Clay Thompson Award winner here?
Well, what's his name? Mordecai? Is that his name? Is that his
Nice,
name?
Mordecai. Yeah,
I feel like I didn't get I didn't get his role until actually even after the phone call on speakerphone. I still didn't get his role in it. I thought actually it was like a guy that actually lived there. Or he did actually live there, but he wasn't a part of it. I still thought, "Oh, okay, this is a guy that they hired or whatever." But then
hmm
afterward, kind of thinking about him at the end, thinking about him and going, "Oh, that to me that's my Clay Thompson," just because the whole speakerphone conversation for me was funny, so I just have to give it to him.
so good, right? And oh no, I don't have you on speaker. Here, let me take you off.
Yeah,
There we go. Okay, so what were you saying? Something about, and he starts it back up again with his doom and gloom incantation.
yeah,
You can hear him laughing in the background. I'm still on speaker. Damn it, I'm still on.
yeah.
They're all back.
How
Okay,
about
man.
you?
Talk to you
Who was
later.
yours? Yeah,
Well, it's Bradley Whitford,
that's right.
100%.
Yeah,
I love any from just he gives from The West Wing to Billy Madison to the Hunger Games, the Handmaid's Tale. I mean, everything he does just you hate him in most of the things he's in because
yeah.
he's the
He plays a
weaselly
good
guy.
swarmy character. Yeah. Well, I
That's a smarmy character.
smarmy.
He's so good
I
at that.
remember him. Yeah.
Go ahead
Well,
from
I just
West Wing.
remember him from Adventures in Babysitting. That's where I first saw him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
adventures in babysitting, absolutely. And you're just like, God, this guy, and
yeah.
he becomes that character. He just embodies whatever character he's doing. You hate him so much in Billy Madison. God damn, do you hate him in Billy Madison, right?
And you hate him in Bicentennial Man. He's the asshole's like son of the inventor of Robin Williams, and he just plays that part so well.
Yes. And Handmaid's Tale, it's such a conflicting character because I don't know if you watched The Handmaid's Tale, but
No,
he
no.
plays Commander Lawrence. Just you're like not sure if you're like there's still a good guy in him, but there's also it's just such a complex character. I don't know who else could have played Commander Lawrence in Handmaid's Tale. God, when he showed up in season 3 of The Handmaid's Tale, I was like, well, yeah, okay. this show was already really good, and now I'm obsessed with it. I freaking love him. He's so good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So he's my Clay Thompson Award winner. What do you got coming up for your week, buddy? You got anything? We're gonna do The Exorcist next week.
Oh man, I can't wait.
You read it? You read the
Yeah,
book?
I read some of the book, not the whole
Uh huh.
thing. I think I read
Okay.
a good portion of the beginning and some of the middle, but I haven't read the whole thing through. But yeah, it's on HBO as well. I was
Oh,
flipping through
good.
trying to find Cabin in the
Save
Woods,
me
and I
three
saw
bucks.
yeah, and I saw it on HBO. So that one is, it's a that one's going to be kind of in depth, and I was hoping
Yeah,
to
we'll
get
have to
some
give it.
a couple more people with it, but maybe it'll just be us. But I just yeah, it's I
I'll see
think
if David's around to do it on
yeah,
Saturday.
yeah, I'll
I
DM
should
him
see him
too.
this week.
Okay,
Nice. Yeah, yeah. DM Bishivik for us,
yeah,
and we'll see if he can hop on Saturday morning.
and
To anybody else, if you guys leave any kind of comments, critiques, what did we miss? What did you like about this? Am I way off base in thinking that this is one to watch every year around this time? It's one you can watch really any time of year, I think, because like it's
mhm,
more of a comedy than it is a
yeah,
horror. But I just watch it with a smile on my face, and that's probably an irrational way of going through it. I'm just obsessed with it. I freaking love it. We have it on a DVD in our trailer when we go camping, and we'll put it on when after, late night when we put the campfire out. We'll pop. This is
yeah,
one of those that we'll pop in. It's just good anytime.
yeah.
Yeah, man, I freaking love it.
I had fun.
Any
I thought,
Yeah, good. I hope so. I hope you had fun. I can't wait to hear because we didn't talk about it until right before we went on. I'm like, she's like, what do you think? What do you think Steve thought? I'm like, I have no idea. We're
yeah,
not texting about it. We're not. We didn't. We tried to stay off the boards this
yeah,
week, and I was just like surprised. I honestly didn't know what you thought.
yeah. I
Good
enjoyed
takes,
it.
though.
I
I
enjoyed it. Yeah.
100% understand where you're coming from. Again,
Wow.
it's different for almost like it's different for everybody. And maybe you have aged out of some of this because I'm thinking about the reaction videos that I watched this week, and they were people in their 20s, and they were just like, "No fucking way, man." And I was enjoying the hell out of watching
Yeah.
them enjoy it for the first time,
Well, there's
and
one.
so
There's one. Let me give you a shout out real quick. There's this one called Kristen watches horror movies or loves horror movies, something like that. She's
okay,
Canadian, I think, and she just watched this week. And she all she does is watch horror movies on her channel. Like she did her first reaction, I think a year or two ago, was The Exorcist. But she just does horror movies, and
okay,
so I'll check
watch
out that
this
one for her. Yeah,
horror. Okay, good.
yeah,
Sometimes, and I don't watch a lot of the reaction stuff because I'm like, it's like watching people play video games for me. I mean, I'd rather just play the video game. But for a movie
yeah,
like this that, I'm
yeah.
going to do a podcast on, and then people can watch us and go, did you see going to see my friends guys talk?
Uh,
They basically told the whole plot of the entire freaking movie. I mean, we could do that. We don't have a license to show the movie we're not there yet.
yeah,
We're a year into doing this. There's some people out there we're in year 5 with our Patreon subscribers can actually watch the movie along, and there's not breaking any
right.
copyright, and this isn't in the public domain yet, so we can't like show. Maybe we could do one where it's something in the public domain where we can just sit and watch the movie together and do one of those reactions. We could do
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
But any thoughts that you guys have out there, throw them in the comments. DM us, Venmo us, just any,
yeah.
send us a bill for $5 to our Venmos, and just thanks for wasting an hour of my day with that. It's a free podcast, man. Come on now. Tell us what you think if you enjoyed it. All right. Anyway, my name is Toby. This is Steve. This is Gonna See Our Friends. And hope you guys enjoyed Cabin in the Woods. And with that, I guess we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.